Xi Jinping pledges more support to improve China's rural areas in China's 2007 budget. China confirms the launch of a new agency to manage its massive foreign exchange reserves. And Chinese oil giant PetroChina has introduced price cuts at selected gas stations in Beijing. Hello and welcome to this edition of BizChina on CCTV International live from Beijing. I'm Rui Chenggang. As always, we have 30 minutes of the latest business and financial news from around China just for you. In our top story, China's Minister of Finance, Xi Jinping, says the primary focus of the government's budgetary spending this year will be to build a new socialist countryside and also to improve people's living standards in rural areas. He made the remarks on the sidelines of the ongoing National People's Congress session. BizChina's Deng Wei tells us how the government plans to achieve the goal.
Minister Xi Jinping says China's central government is working harder than ever to improve the situation in rural areas. The central government allocated 340 billion yuan budget for this goal in 2006, and he says this year this figure will increase by about 52 billion. Meanwhile, besides the task of completing the nationwide abolishment of the agricultural tax and the livestock tax in 2006, the central government will now make more efforts in improving public services, such as social security and education.
This year, China has implemented a compulsory education policy all around the rural areas. About 15 million rural students will be benefited. The government also aims to include 80% of the country's rural population in the cooperative medical care system. Moreover, it will for the first time provide subsidies to guarantee minimal living conditions for farmers, and that will benefit 30 million people.
Minister Xi Jinping says that in order to improve farmers' living standards, this year the government will also fund rural infrastructure such as roads as well as power and water supplies. And only when all these problems are solved could people in the rural areas enjoy the same public services as those in the cities. Xi says the fundamental way to solve the agricultural problem lies in the development of the rural economy. Therefore, the government will provide further assistance to the agricultural modernization by setting up more favorable policies and granting more financial supports. Deng Wei, CCTV.
Staying with the conference, the finance minister confirmed that China will establish a new investment agency to manage part of its $1 trillion in foreign currency reserves. Xi Jinping said that the State Council has already made studies on how to manage China's massive forex reserves by separating them into normal reserves and the portion allocated for investing. Singapore's government-owned investment agency Temasek Holdings would serve as one of the models for the new body. Xi Jinping says China's currency regulator, the SAFE, would retain management of the rest of the reserves. The normal forex reserves will continue to be under the management of the foreign exchange regulator. Under the leadership of the State Council, a foreign exchange management company will supervise the other portion. Xi Jinping also said the corporate income tax law, if passed by the ongoing MPC session, will probably take effect on January 1st, 2008. The draft law sets a unified tax rate for domestic and foreign companies, but will also preserve some preferential tax rates. BizChina's Liu Zhenzi has the details.
China's finance minister Xi Jinping told press conference on Friday that if the top legislature approves unified domestic and foreign-funded enterprise taxation, the government revenue will drop about 100 billion yuan annually. In view of the fact that fiscal revenue grew rapidly in the past 2 years, the tax rate adjustment will create a sound environment for enterprises. Jing also said firms in some sectors receiving priority support from the state will continue to enjoy favorable tax rates.
We preserve some of the preferential tax rate for certain industries. For example, the high-tech enterprises could enjoy